Good afternoon, everyone. It is October the 5th, 2019. Be sure to say hello in the chat if you're watching live and let me know where in the world you are from. It's always amazing to me to publish here in the middle of Canada and have people from all around the world tuning in. Now, in today's episode, we're going to talk about October altcoin projections that perhaps nobody else is showing you. I want to thank you for joining me on this altcoin live stream. There are so many great crypto channels out there. I appreciate you following along. And I have a question for you. I'd like you to answer down in the comments down below. What is it about this stream that you like that keeps you coming back over and over? Let me know what's good and what you think should be added to it. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you a way of projecting altcoin moves that potentially may shock you. And in fact, I can guarantee that very few people are actually putting this simple tool into practice, even though you may know about it. Many day traders and scalpers will outright deny the simple truth of what I'm about to reveal, and perhaps they would rather I don't even show you these charts. Now, we'll go into that in a few minutes, and we'll talk about what this potentially means to our precious bags of cryptos. But let's jump in and check out a few more things before we get into that detail. First of all, none of this is actually trading advice. It's just my own market commentary. It's my own trading journal as I map through everything going on in the cryptos over time compared to my own trading plan. Now let's jump in. Before we get into these charts, I want to double check that everything's working here and that I'm streaming in the right place for one thing. Let's refresh that chat box and see if it comes up or if I just killed it. I have no idea why that chat box works sometimes and other times it doesn't. So we'll get into the way of projecting the altcoins, and we'll take a look at these phenomenal charts that are setting up right here. But before we do, I want to go back and take a look way back when. Way back here in, what is this, early February of this year. We're looking at the price of Bitcoin here, and I'm calling the bottom formations here. We're seeing that the early stages of the bottom is already in here. The first stage of the bottom, February 18th. And this is because our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation broke out and our moving averages crossed over. As we move along in the prices, we can see that I was calling for 5,400 before this breakout went up. Then I was saying 6,100 as it was passing there. And as we're moving up and the chart pattern started to unfold, then I'm starting to project $9,400. As we're going up, I was calling for 12,500. And as we are getting up even further along and we can see time moving, we're moving now into top hunting. Here we are in July the 10th, looking for top formations in the markets. Pretty much exactly where the tops were. And we're calling for exits on the 4-hour exponential moving average and exit part 2 on the 12-hour exponential moving average crossover. All of these things that we were following along in Bitcoin as Bitcoin is unfolding, now we're looking for more downside targets in Bitcoin, looking for $5,800. I don't know if these are going to show up the way they were, but by following along this very same pattern and looking to see what's going on with the alts and then using these patterns to project where the alts could go, I'm thinking we are setting up for something really similar. Alrighty, hey, look at this, chat is working. No Jack, Low Jack, good to have you along. Adrian, good to have you here. Alts are jumping off a cliff. Okay, not yet. They're not, because look at Bitcoin dominance here. Bitcoin dominance is right on the edge of Bitcoin, all of the altcoins going to the moon. So there's going to be a little trepidation here, but unless this chart pulls back, the altcoins are not in trouble. And I wouldn't consider them to be in trouble unless we get back to the 67, 68% range. But right now, it seems like everything is going to be taking off, which is why I'm focusing on the theory or the emphasis in this video, talking about ways to project the altcoin moves. A very simple way and it's a simple truth, but most people won't do it, and it's because of the fear and greed. Most people won't do it because most of us trade with fear and greed in the wrong places, and we can talk about that as we go on, but let me jump into the charts now. I want to quickly blast through ADA. Let me use this scribbler. ADA RSI. Sounds like a secret code word. Then we go to the ADA on balance volume. And of course, that makes me smile. I don't know if you hear that in my voice or not. But then we look at the ADA MACD indicator. And we look at the ADA 4-hour time frame Ichimoku cloud. And if you've been following along with this stream, these should be stepping out at not jumping out at you. They should be stepping out of the chart sort of in 3D view, all of the things that we've been watching for and seeing them all accumulate, setting up here now. So to see this pattern setting up is phenomenal. All of this stuff. I want to just quickly go through now the same pattern for BCH ABC. We do see the RSI building up a little bit. If it starts to break above these levels, it's building some structure for us. If we go into BCH ABC for the volume, it gets thrown out of the park. If we go to BCH ABC, it's got a little bit of crossing to the positive, so there's some juice there. But if we go into the Ichimoku cloud, this fails. It doesn't win the contest here the way ADA does. Now I want to do the same trick with EOS, and we're going through quickly, just quickly looking at the relative strength index to see where those divergences are and comparing the one to the other so that we get this picture back and forth, the differences between them. So the volume difference in this pattern here is really key, really important compared to BCH. Then the MACD indicator isn't flared as positive. And then, when we go into the Ichimoku cloud for EOS on the 4-hour time frame, it has crossed to the positive and is sticking up above the cloud. So EOS is stronger in these quick review than we see for BCH ABC. Now, some of the things that we've been watching for here in Ethereum for a while is that we have three touches off this top. We've got a diverging RSI. So for my own part, I call this the 3 touches of death. And if it crosses below those levels, it's going to give us a cross of our 4-hour EMA pretty quickly. So it is important to be watching this RSI. And the other charts weren't giving me the pause to stop and reflect like that. We do have good positive volume set up in here for Ethereum. If we go to the MACD indicator, this isn't as good as ADA, and in fact, if this starts to cross negative here, that will start to be my first early confirmation of this top formation. Really watching this 4-hour MACD indicator has really been an important call for the top all the way along here every time it does this. So if this starts to cross to the negative, that's really big, especially if the RSI is slipping off at the same time. So I've come in here expecting to do a lot more short-term bullish view of this, but as we're coming up to this, and I have to pay attention to, it's still bullish to me. This is a buy signal off of the cloud. Even if it dips down into the cloud for a bit, it's got lots of elasticity to bounce up and off of that until it breaks sort of the elastic band as it's coming out of these ranges. So we'll have to watch to see how Ethereum plays out. That's not as bullish as I came in expecting. That's why I do these videos, so that when I come back, I can tell what was the change that I saw or I didn't see. I want to know. So for me, this is all building up, and we were talking about this yesterday, that a break above these levels would be very good for our RSI, and sure enough, it's set itself up. Now, is it something to worry about that it's pausing there? I don't think so, but we're not getting the on-balance volume that I'm wanting to see in Litecoin. And if this crosses negative, it'll give us pause to pull back a little bit more. And I'd be watching for these levels and just sort of chill out and wait for it all to happen. If we go into Litecoin for the Ichimoku cloud, though, it has crossed to the positive. So this wins for me. This chart pattern, this indicator has been really kicking butt. Now, what I want to see is that this flares positive, and it's getting too close for comfort there on the 4-hour time frame. So I zoom into the 1-hour time frame, hoping to see that it's crossing positive and flaring positive stronger, but it's crossed positive and then flaring kind of negative. So it is kind of losing a bit of steam. Is it worrisome? Not at all until it gets back below these levels. There's really, it's that middle range that you just don't want to be jumping in and out and in and out and in and out of. Let's go on to TRX now, on to the relative strength index. And I got to go to the same time frame, the 4-hour. This really did a nice move up off of our, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of death. If it doesn't break above on the 4th one, it usually means that it needs a breath. It needs to pull back a little bit and gather some more steam to break up above it. It should just cleanly puncture that by the time it's coming up to the 3rd time. And especially when we're seeing the relative strength index up this high, let's go see what our other indicators are telling us as we go into the on balance volume. It is showing good, but not great. It's good, but not as good as it was here and here. So it makes me feel like it wants to pull back a little bit, and that's fine. We shouldn't sweat until our 4-hour exponential moving average crosses over. We should even let it do a spike and pull itself back up and not let that drive us out. There is variability in the way these bottom formations set up in the short term. So let's continue on to the 4-hour time frame. That's 4-hour time frame is crossed to the positive and looking good. So if I go into the 1-hour time frame, it's still looking good. This isn't a worry to have a little bit of ease there after this starting to blow off this range. Not enough volume though. Really, I was expecting to see more volume on that. Now in the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, this was already given us our buy signal a while ago, breaking through the cloud, and now it's confirmed. I like that this has gone wide and this is going skinnier. All of that confirms, and it does give us the flexibility and the room, the elasticity for the prices to come back to here without worry. And so when you're putting on your first trades here, they have to be small. You have to have your stops back below technical levels and then plan to add on as things are taking off. Now we're almost through our whole set here. Let's go into Ripple, blasting off. Ripple is easing off here. We've got a top formation and it's easing off. We've got lower RSI going on here, so maybe Ripple will too. But we can see that break of this trend line is one potential place to exit, but I'm going to err on the side of waiting until that 4-hour EMA crosses. Let's see how that goes, and we'll watch to see how the others now compare. Are they going to follow along with something like this? Let's go into Ripple's volume, and here again, volume, less volume, less volume, less volume. So that really does confirm this is a potential top formation, and we could be coming back. We'll take a look at how to do those projections in just a minute. Let's go into Ripple, and on this time frame, again, lower, 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 crosses to the negative here on the 1-hour. Let's go to the 4-hour, stay consistent. Lower, lower, lower. We were talking about this divergence over the last few days as this was setting up here and in Ethereum, and pointing them out saying, hey, this, I don't know. Now I'm still going to wait for this 4-hour EMA to cross, even if this stuff is crapping out and the prices come back. Let's go on to Ripple in the 4-hour exponential 4-hour Ichimoku. Like, it still does have the flexibility to come back here into the cloud and go, and I could still rationalize it all bullish all the way along there until it pokes through the cloud here, and then we have 1, 2, 3 top formations, and it will be a new evaluation should we get down to those levels. All right, let me jump back to the chat here. I've been just plowing through it. So I don't think alts are about to jump off the cliff, but they are seeming to pull back, and we'll see if they go into our elastic zone or if they start to go below that and start to snap. And we'll know our exponential moving averages will cross over and pull us out. Let's go and see. Good evening from Paris. I'm happy to show all this stuff. EOS looks like it's going up soon. I'm happy to share all this stuff. I'm sharing it with you, but also with my future self, so that if there's a really big move in the alts tomorrow and I come back and I can watch today's video in 6 months and go, what was I thinking? I learn quite a bit from my own trading. It's my own trading journal. And I really recommend that you do the same in whatever format it works for you, but journal what you're thinking in your trades as you're setting them up. Now, the leader for this video was talking about wanting to show you a way of projecting altcoin moves that is potentially going to shock you. It may not shock you if you've been watching these episodes with me, but you may still be in denial of it. And I'm going to start off with ADA. And the only way to overcome this denial is to have an example. I want to quote, for my own part, I really resonate with this quote. There's the 4 stages of awareness for learning anything. Anything that you're learning in the world, there's always 4 stages of awareness. And I learned it from an Olympic diving coach. I read a book on his training program, and he talked about how his divers learn how to dive. And it's the same thing as learning how to trade for me. You have these 4 stages. The first stage is that you completely don't know what your mistake was. So a diver will jump off the board, they'll hit the water, they'll climb out, and the coach will say, did you know your left arm was sticking out sideways? And they'll go, no, I didn't know. They were unaware that they were making this mistake. Then the second stage of awareness is the diver will jump off the board, hit the water, they'll climb out, and then they'll say, oh, you know what, coach? I left my arm out again. I know I made that mistake. But they don't recognize it till after the mistake is finished. They've already hit the water. Then the third stage of awareness is the diver is jumping off and they are making the mistake as they go down, going, oh shit, my left arm is stuck out. Bang, they hit the water, they get out and they say, yeah, you know what, coach? I knew it as I was doing it. I wasn't pulling in my left arm. Then the fourth stage of awareness is they're up at the top of the diving thing and they are already mentally correcting that left arm before they jump. And when they jump, they don't make the mistake. And it's the same thing with the 4 stages of awareness in trading for every one of the mistakes that we make. So first of all, somebody has to point it out to you. Then after the fact is already finished, you look back at the charts and you look at your trading journal and you say, oh man, there it is. And then the third stage is that you are making the mistake and you know you're making it and you make it anyway. You say, oh, this is wrong. I know this is wrong. This isn't good. I shouldn't be doing it, but I think, and then afterwards you go, oh my goodness. Then you get to that 4th stage of awareness where you believe it even before it's happened and you correct the mistake before the charts have moved. So one of the things that I'm teaching in this overall, if you go to the website and you sign up for the free training, you get a good overview of it. However, if you go over and you're doing pro alerts, you may be more interested in getting the real details of where our entries and exits are, because we've been absolutely crushing it here in the alts the past while. But maybe the alerts are a little bit advanced for you. This is actually trading in, and you want to practice up a little bit. Right now, we are having a registration for our Learn to Trade Cryptos course. And I've been running this course since 2015. I've run thousands of people through this course. We're having another registration, and the registration closes in 2 days and 2 hours. And then we're going to start through the course again. I won't be running this course again for another month after that. So if this is something you're interested in, be sure to go over to the website and check it out. And so in essence, I can give you the basics here, but you're not going to be able to build the habits. You're not going to build the regular routine of actually believing it until you really study this stuff and go through a lot more detail that we talk about in the course. The course also gives a lot of different variabilities and options for each different stage of the trade that I really don't go over in the free live streams here. So what we're doing in essence here, and I want to prove out over the next while, and I want to show to you the simple truth that many of you may deny, especially the day traders and the short-term scalpers. They just won't sit still long enough to make something like this work for you. And so I'm going to do some projections on these charts, and I'm going to set out some screenshots, and we'll come back to them in 6 months just as we came back to the Bitcoin trading videos, months and months and months later, we can see how these projections all turned out. And it's not because I'm a genius, it's because of this trading plan. If I could trade my plan as well as the trading plan works, I'd be a lot more wealthy. And this is why I practice and practice. So now let's get into those projections. We're looking for a 50% move from the last big technical levels from where we are now. That means that ADA is going to be hitting this 50% level before it corrects and makes a consolidation. So that represents, if I grab the shift key from this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and say we don't get in until it actually breaks above these levels, not giving me happy. Maybe it doesn't like to go into the future. Okay. So we're looking, if we don't get in until after the breakout to the top, after that top formation, we're looking at a 45% rise in the prices. And I know that when I do a screenshot, this 45% thing never shows up. So I'm going to copy this link. No, I'm going to tweet it out. And I want to projection, October projection for ADA. And I'm not going to do BCH ABC. It's got to smarten up. It's not making a bottom formation that I can do a projection on. So for the technical levels in this one, I'm going to use the recent support and resistance to the very bottom. We're going to imagine that we're getting into it after it breaks out of this bottom formation here, and that we're going to be coming up to the 50% level. So then if I go shift and I project, wrong button. Whoops, wrong button. Shift and project. Not going to let me do it. I'll do the math later. But we can see how this, just by doing this Fibonacci level, how it projects out to these technical levels. Now, the main thing that we're talking about here is where this is going to go in the short term. Later, we can talk about how this adds on for our long-term trend trading. Let's just take a screenshot of this, tweet this out. And this is probably our, late October news for EOS tweet. And I'll compile these together underneath a tweet of this video. Now, this is going to be a projection that doesn't say that it's going to go up from where we are to the projection straight away. It could come down and muck about for a bit before it's coming up to these levels, and I do believe it will, actually. When I start to look at this, the 50% level in this is not a scream and move from our recent support and resistance. And so if we're looking at the risk to reward ratio, this coin doesn't have the same type of reward as possible for the other coins, simply because of most of the move has already been done. So after the pullback and later in October. And we'll see how this plays out. Litecoin is by far a more favorite for me for risk to reward ratio from this support and resistance level from the past until the 50% level is a much greater percentage return on your investment than Ethereum is potentially promising with the same setup. TRX is actually my favorite, and I don't know where to draw this projection from. Even if I just do it from this recent move here and draw it down, and then take a look at where this 50% level lines us up to, that's about the 300 Satoshi level, clear sailing to the 300 Satoshi level from where we are. And it seems like there wouldn't be a problem at all for it to be doing this. Tweet this out. And we'll say October projection for TRX. Ripple is going to be a little more difficult because there are two really strong technical levels. One of them is right here, and then one would be in this range here. So we have two different potentials here, the 50% level or the 50% level here. So really, this level is super key. Now, as this is breaking out, I'm expecting that we're going to have a chance to draw our parallel channels afterwards. And we'll come back into a different video and we'll draw our parallel channels on that. So for now, let me just take a tweet on this one at a couple different, two different So now we have some really clear projections, and you may be in denial. You may say, oh, I don't know, it's so easy, it's so simple, it's so basic. There's got to be more to it than that. But let's play this out over time now. We've got this tweeted out. We've got the details all there recorded. We've got this video recorded. We have all of the backup of it over all of this time. We'll play this out over the next while, and then we can come back to these videos and the tweets in the future, and we'll compare. We'll see how far did it come up to our projections, how far off did we end up being in these projections over time. And so it's really setting up well. It's phenomenal to see all of our crypto alerts rocking it so well. And I'm very excited about this next run of the course. There's a very small group of people here in our live stream right now. And there's a very small number of people for this course signing up. So I'm really looking to work individually with the people who are signing up there. Let's go back to the chart. I want to go and take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin specifically. We did a live stream on that this morning, and it was super bearish. It was right at 5 o'clock in the morning. I think it was probably right in here. And then prices started to ease off right after that. So we're still sitting below those levels and nothing showing any strength yet. So we'll dig into this again tomorrow morning in the Bitcoin live stream. We'll check into our indicators and see what they are telling us. If there are any insights that they are telling us, just as we saw all the way through the year through our Bitcoin stream. Now let me go back to the chat and take a look here. So EOS looks like it's going to pump up soon. Most of the alts are retracing a bit by now. Yep, quite vertical. If you haven't already, take the free webinar over on the website. For sure, that will start you out. So Bitcoin dominance has spiked. It is giving us a little bit of pullback, and that's, for me right now, this is not worrying at all, and it's normal and good. We'll start to have some concern if Bitcoin prices are starting to step up above these levels, but they really have a ways to go yet before they're going to get me into worry territory, because we have this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation setting up. It's got to break above these levels. It's got to break up above here. It's got to stage up above here with Bitcoin dominance rising rather, before I'm going to start to worry about the alts at all. And the other argument in that is that if I go and grab a simple parallel channel and drag it out along this, we've seen this parallel channel set up before. We've had these almost bottom formations in the altcoins, but they also look like they were just about to take off, and then Bitcoin crushed them all. And then we had it again where we were showing support and resistance like this, and Bitcoin crushed them all again. So that we are here, should we start to break up above these levels, then I'm going to start changing my tune in the altcoins. We'll be watching for all of our 4-hour exponential moving averages to kick us out of these trades. And as we're coming down to these levels, we'll be looking for a whole new plan. So let's see how that all plays out over time. That about wraps it up for this stream. We've gone through all of the major coins on BitMEX. If you are interested in more of the coins and our analysis on everything on Binance, then you'll probably be interested in at least our Patreon Bull Market Watch spreadsheet, where you get access to all of the details in this spreadsheet. You get to see which are the 13 coins on alert status today in Poloniex, which are the 17 coins in hold status, and which of the coins to not even talk about, not even touch. We have 43 coins in alert status over on Binance right now, 51 coins in hold status. And if you don't know which coins these are, this is money in the bank. This is fantastic profits. And all of this has been documented as we've been doing our alerts and keeping our spreadsheet up to date. We can see that the open percentage profits we have in all of these trades is rocking it. Our stops are already above our entries, so these are guaranteed profits locked in. Even if prices of the alts are starting to come back, we are set up good. And if you want to know when to get out, these alerts are even more important to you. If you've been a bag holder that's been holding and you can't let go, these reports are even more important. So now I'll sign off, and we'll tune in tomorrow to go back through our routine, and then maybe in the next while we'll come back to our projections to see how they actually turned out over time. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for tuning in. Give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already and you like this kind of content, hit the subscribe button. And fill out help me with my question at the beginning of the video. Answer down in the description down below, what is it that you find in this altcoin live stream or channel that is different than the other channels that you like, that keeps you coming back? What is it you would also like to see changed or improved or added to this live stream? Again, I appreciate you being here. Your time is valuable, and I hope this turns into profit for you. Thanks again, and all the best in your crypto trading this weekend. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the next episode. Cheers.